welcome to Matters of Black, and today we have a special guest, Kamari Hawkins. She is a poet, she's a writer, and she is the owner of Mama's Kitchen Press.
Yes.
So, Kamari, thank you so much for joining Matters of Black. Girl, I just want to thank you for being here. I admire your work. I be on the gram. I'm like her stalker on the gram, y'all. I be stalking on the gram. But she's so smart and she's very talented. And people who write, I always say I'm jealous of people who write and read because y'all just super smart. But anyway, let's get into this. So Matters of Black, this season we're doing Black Author Edition. And I wanted to promote anything under the author, writer, poet umbrella, even when it comes to publishing, editing. And I heard through the grapevine that you have your own publishing company.
Yes.
So let's get into that first. Tell us about your publishing company.
Sure. So it's called Mama's Kitchen Press. And the idea came from me and my grandmother and my mom were in my grandmother's kitchen talking, and it was just a very intimate moment. And I was like, wow, the kitchen is so special. We all know that. But I wanted to encapsulate stories that felt like our mother's kitchen, just like good stories, something funny, maybe heartfelt. So the motto is personal, heartfelt, intimate stories. And before Mama's Kitchen Press, I was working at a press before as a manager, and we went to this large writing conference, so to speak. And there were, hundreds of presses there, but very few were represented, by Black people. Or maybe they were there working the desk, but they weren't really working the whole thing.
The front lines.
The front lines. They weren't really owning it. And so I said, there just needs to be more. So I was like, okay. So that I went to in April of 2019. The idea of the name came in December of 2019, but I didn't really get it off the ground until really 2021.
Okay. And it seems like whenever there's a problem, that's when people who are creatives or creators, that's when it's like, oh no, we got to do something about this. And you recognize the problem with Black press because you didn't see our people and people of color representing us. So you felt a need to, you know what, I'm gonna do it for us. And that's amazing in itself. So have you started publishing any books yet with your publishing company? Yes.
So part of it is that, well, first I wanted to go back to what you said about it. There aren't that many of us out here. There are some, but when you really zoom out, it's like just a handful of us.
A little
sprinkle of us. But yeah, so I help out with self-publishing as well. So I've helped a couple of authors self-publish their books. But as our own traditional, acquired our own author, we have one book now that's out called I'm Writing to Tell You by Jaha Zainabu. And she's a LA poet legend. Like, you mention her name to any other poet,
they know
9 times out of 10, they know who she is.
Okay, so we're going to make sure we have her information, of course.
Absolutely.
In our description. So before we get into the deep questions, can you tell me about anything you're working on?
Absolutely. So I'm also a writer, even though I help people, publish their books. I'm working on a novel called Brock and Chiomanda. That's the working title. It might change. It might change. And then also I'm working on a second collection of poetry.
Okay. All right. Yes. I might have to have you do some little poetry before we leave here. We're going to see how you feeling. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty of this season of Black Author Edition. As a Black writer, what does that mean to you? Especially because, and I hate to say this, but it is what it is. It seems like it to me that Black people are trending. It's like, it's our time. It's like they're giving us, look, we gonna jump on the bandwagon. They're giving it to us, so I feel like we should take advantage. But I'm saying that to say that we see a lot of more Black books on the shelves. Now, how was that for you a few years ago? Like, were you always thinking about, before you created your publishing company, was that always in the back of your mind, like, we need to do this? Or it really just didn't inspire you to do that, or inspire didn't spark your thinking until that problem. You saw the problem.
Yeah, it didn't. Well, I will say, yeah, of course we noticed that there aren't that many black writers, and the few that you think of right off top are, you know, Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, James Baldwin, right? But what about like contemporaries? So like now I think it's like a renaissance, I feel like right now. And even though that's funny you said like black people are trending, I feel like it's been like that for like a little bit. Like it's really cool to see. And I think that to be a black writer and during this time is very important because we've heard it before that if you don't write your story, someone else will. And it's almost like, oh, I don't even know if I want to go there, but someone else will get it. They'll get it wrong.
We here for it.
They'll get it wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I don't want to be shady, but I don't know. What came to mind was like the Nina Simone biopic, the one that like
on Netflix,
Zoe Saldana did.
Oh, when they did her, yeah.
That was a bit much. I was like, if I don't know, I feel like if Nina Simone was alive to say like, hey, this is what I want, or even knew, like it probably would have been Viola Davis or someone else, right? But I feel like, too, if we don't, even like one of my mentors, Hiram Sims, he says like, you should work on your Wikipedia page now because somebody is going to get it wrong. They're going to say like, oh yeah, she loved chocolate when really maybe I never loved chocolate. Like I don't know, like people experience you different than like you yourself are experiencing you. So all that to say, you really should write your own story because someone's going to get it wrong. And even though we have our own experience, I mean, we have a collective black experience, we still have our own independent experience. So I feel like that's what it means to be a black writer. Like you should write your story. Right now, white men are still getting publishing deals much faster than, you know, many other races. And I think people are getting tired of that perspective. It's like, no offense, but okay.
But you know what? I think that's why right. And it goes back to like, if you have more black people in the room, we will make mistakes, right? When you have like, especially when it comes to marketing and doing these companies like with, what was it, Gucci with the slippers or whatever. I believe it was Gucci. But in saying that, it's like, at what point are black people, can we step it up a little bit to give ourselves more opportunity? Like, if you know that you have this gift of editing and publishing, start that company so you can give your people more of a chance to, I guess, tell their story. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And I feel like too, thankfully, like self-publishing options are really amazing too now. So even it's one of those things where you give yourself an opportunity before someone else. And then it also helps you to build your audience. So sometimes I'm pro both, like self-publishing and traditional. Traditional is more like, okay, someone backed you up, but self-publishing is like, I'm not waiting, I'm going to hustle and provide something for my audience.
Okay, girl. Well, thank you so much for joining us on today on that short little mini series. We love you and we thank you for just being here with us on Matters of Black. You can catch Kamari. Oh, tell them your Instagram or whatever you want to tell them. Yes. We're all about promotion and highlighting our black people.
Thank you. I'm on all socials at Kamari Creative. Okay.
Well, you heard that first on Matters of Black.
I do the dances.
You do the dances?
Sometimes.
I'm a baby when it comes to that. I'm still learning the TikTok. I'm showing my age. But anyway, we love y'all. Thank you guys so much for Matters Back. Catch us next week. And we have another surprise for you with a special guest.